Good morning, Summerside Community Church family. I am coming on midweek. Normally I would come on Mondays, but this week we're doing it just a little different. I'm coming on Wednesday just to share some midweek thoughts and just a reflection as you go into the rest of your week. And can you believe it? It's already the third week in January. So we're coming to the end already this month, that's okay. I love getting through winter and heading into summer. Summer would be one of my favorite seasons as well as fall. So anyways, as we think about just Sunday and some of the things to think about, there was a lot to take in from Sunday on a variety of different fronts. But one of the things that really stood out to me is when Josh, who was teaching on Sunday, started out by saying, there's just so many misconceptions about God. There are so many. And how does this good, beautiful, kind, and loving God of the universe become so misunderstood? There are three really main things that cause that to be. One, of course, is deception from the enemy. We see that from Genesis, sin and brokenness, which we also see from the book of Genesis that reminds us, that tells us, okay, here's the story of how it all began. So under this web of deception, we get separated and we get lost. And when you are lost, so think about this, when you are lost, you'll respond to life from a place of often fear, self-protection, which leads to all kinds of toxic behaviors. And I was just really thinking about that and reflecting on times when I've been actually lost, and even lost as a child. There was a story of me getting lost in a department store, separated from my mom, and just like in a panic, complete fear. And so since this all went sideways, God has been pursuing us. He's saying, you don't have to be lost. I'm here. I'm coming to find you. He's drawing us back to ourselves, to himself. He's unveiling the truth piece by piece, working to restore his image inside of us. So to truly to know God, we have to experience being found. The experience of being found, encountering the good shepherd. We talked about that as one of the statements that Jesus refers to as who he is. And then we see that reference through scripture. He's the good shepherd who will leave the 99 and search to find the one. And that changes everything. To be found, to experience being found changes everything. And so I love the title of Sunday's message, Humanity, the Target of God. And the target is for our good. It's not for our harm. We often think, when we think of the word target, we think of like a rifle and being targeted in some way, shape, or form. In that sense, that's not what God is doing. And if we consider Jesus's words, I have come to seek and to save the lost. That is why we're his target. We're being targeted to be rescued, to be found, and to experience who he is and to become all that we were created to be. And so some of you still might be asking questions around that concept of being targeted, but being a target may make you feel uncomfortable. And I just want to encourage you to wrestle with this and consider the lens that you're using to read God's words in the Bible. God's targeting reveals what's going on inside of us so that it can be seen. In the hidden currents in our hearts are a mix of idols and things that we have put hope in that are only holding us captive and keeping us from God. So in the case of Job, who was the first person from the Bible that Josh was referring to, when we come to the end of his story, reading his story. So for those of you who are following the Bible reading recap, we read through Job. We're out of Job. But in the case of Job, when we come to the end of his story about being targeted by God, he says at the very end in chapter 42, he says, my ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. I've experienced who you are. I've been found by you. And so that's Job 42, verse 5. So when you read the Bible, are you impacted by fear or by love? Where are you living when you look at the Bible, when you read the Bible? And remember the example that Josh used when he was speaking on Sunday from Luke 21, verses 8 and 9. I'll encourage you to go back there and just look at that. And if you read that verse from a place of fear, you'll focus on where Jesus talks about wars and uprisings. But if you read it through the lens of love, you'll focus on Jesus's words, do not be frightened. Do not be frightened, because I'm here. I'm in the midst of it. You don't have to be afraid. And so where in Scripture do you believe God is angry? And what can you do to look more closely at what's really happening to see who God truly is? And so this is the exciting part of reading the Scriptures. They reveal more of who God is. They show us that he is good and beautiful and kind, and he's full of love for you. So for those of you who are following the Bible recap reading plan for the year, keep going. We're only 3 weeks in, so keep going. It's so worth it. And if for some reason you've fallen behind, be kind to yourself. This is what I do. If I fall behind, if I miss a day, just skip ahead to the next day and keep going. Don't beat yourself up. If you miss a chapter or two, I'm like, I'll read it next year. So just keep going. And if there's another plan, or you're just learning how to carve out this time to be with Jesus daily, just bless you to keep going. And remember, he is so delighted to be with you. He's so full of joy and love, and he loves to be with his children. He loves to be with his kids. And I'm so excited to share with you that we are going to be starting a new teaching series on Psalm 23, and we're going to learn so much more about Jesus, the Good Shepherd. We're going to dig into what it really is talking about through that whole psalm. And David, who was a shepherd, he knew what it meant when he said those words. We're actually going to dig into a bit of a shepherd's story, looking at a shepherd's view of Psalm 23 and what that really shows us about Jesus. So we're going to dig deeper into that and understand further just how present Jesus is, because a shepherd is present with his sheep. He's right in the middle. And how being his target is actually a good and beautiful thing for your life. And so I just encourage you this week, rest in the goodness of Jesus and have a great week, everyone. Bye for now.